Pleased to say that I've known him for years, and now he's got a new book out called QB, My Life Behind the Spiral. He is Steve Young here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Steve?
Rich, has it been that many years? I mean, it's like
it has been.
I turned 55 the other day. My kids, because I did start a little late, and I walked into the room and they had all these posters up. Hey, oldie, happy birthday! Like, oh, come on!
It's been that long, man, and
getting killed.
Now, so I do what I always do when there's a book written by somebody who I know personally, and I know, it's not like we've been to each other's weddings or whatever. We've crossed paths. I go to the Index. I go to the E's. I see Lavelle. Well, I see Lavelle Edwards. I understand that from BYU, and I see Elway, Torrey Epps. I see ESPY Awards. That was the unkind cut, Steve. Is that I know I'm not on the book, but the ESPY Awards is an entry. That was the one that really cut deep for me personally.
I don't know what I don't understand why that's in there, to be honest with you. I mean, you know what? I tried to control everything. I lost control of the Index, obviously.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But, our years, let's see, what would be the first, when did you start working? I mean, you're not that old. So, I mean, it's like you.
Well, I got there in 96 into 2000.
Okay, that's late. That's late.
Yes.
That's the final chapters of the book. So, I mean, obviously, the impact wasn't immediate, I guess, Rich. I don't know what to tell you.
But one of the,
interesting impact later.
Interestingly enough, though, Steve, you definitely don't know this, so I'm going to reveal it. But the day that you finally got past the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game in the old Candlestick Park, and you ran around the stadium. You remember that? You're holding the ball up. You took that victory lap.
Like a fool, right?
No. Well, there was a young television reporter from Redding, California, KRCR, the ABC affiliate, standing there with a camera, shooting it, and you
kidding me?
Yeah, you nearly took me out that day.
That's awesome, because I did not know that. You never told me that, and that was your close. And if you didn't, I about took out every cameraman and reporter. I mean, honestly, it was like there was a wake behind me, like a boat, and people just going down. It was like watching bowling pins go down. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. No, but I think, and fans will remember, certainly Niner fans will remember, I remember just what that really meant to you. And I know Gary Plummer, you told him at that Super Bowl, take the monkey off my back.
Right.
I mean, that was deep heartfelt, correct, Steve?
Yeah, I think I always regretted the monkey off my back thing, because I think everyone thought that was Joe being it was really just maybe even the Cowboys, I mean, it's like there were so many different weights that came off in the Super Bowl. It's hard to figure out where each one was. But I do kind of regret that, because I think it sent the wrong message that there was this burden. Well, I turned it into a real positive. Like, look, there's a great opportunity here, and I didn't feel the way I had felt like a few years earlier when I really was burdened. Like every time I threw a ball, people were like, well, Joe threw it better than that. Or every interception was like, well, Joe never did that. Or every loss, well, Joe never lost a game. Like, no, he did. I promise, he lost a game. I'd have to go back and show that he did throw an interception. I promise. It did happen.
Mm-hmm. Steve Young, the book is QB, My Life Behind the Spiral. Go check it out right now in bookstores near you or online, what have you. Steve Young joining me here on The Rich Eisen Show. I had Jerry Jones on in hour number 2, Steve. And, it sounds like Romo's going to get this gig back. But I asked him, how is he taking it? Because, obviously you can't have rabbit ears if you're the quarterback of the Cowboys. But he's got to be hearing. I mean, even Favre coming out. Favre, who basically, as we all know, took many different tries at retiring and sticking around in Green Bay.
Right.
Passed his born-on date in many ways from Packer fans back in that day. But, I mean, how do you think Romo's handling this conversation that he should just stay put and Dak Prescott takes the gig?
I mean, obviously, you'd want to use it as incentive. I mean, in the end, Tom Brady's proven this so famously, as you watch it even today, that anything that can slight you, if you can use it as an inspiration. And so, to me, you can be burdened by it. You can feel like you're being slighted. You can feel like it's not fair. But the truth is, in the NFL, it's never fair. It's never easy. It's never, simple. And so, okay, Dak Prescott, they're saying Dak Prescott, okay, let it overwhelm you or let it get to you, then you're not going to make it. So Tony's proven that he can handle a lot of stuff. I doubt he's going to be bothered too much by it. I mean, I'm sure it'll irritate him, but hopefully he can take that irritation into something positive. But the truth is, Dak, this is not just some concocted quarterback controversy. Dak's doing things as a rookie that usually, the things he's doing, he can do for 15 years. These are not just a rookie running around and being successful and everybody get exciting like Bent Longley back in the day. It's like you can really just, fundamentally play the position and everybody sees, oh my gosh, what he's doing today as a rookie, he's going to do for 15 years. And that's why I think that there's the controversy or the conflict is really heightened in the last couple of weeks, because even I, last week against Cincinnati, said, because I was a big guy last week saying, Tony comes back, he's in. No question. The rookie can kind of be around and he can come in if Tony gets hurt. And then last week with that, the locker room seemed to change. I mean, the chemistry of a team is very tender. And the Cowboys for years, even with Tony, didn't punch above their weight. And all of a sudden, the Cowboys that I see this year are punching above their weight. So whatever that is, you don't want to change it. That's why it's so delicate.
But as well, even though you did win your first playoff game of your career, it's a different story when
Yep.
When
no question.
When the playoffs begin, and I've told this, I've mentioned this on on my show. I'm with Steve Young here on the Rich Eisen Show. Last couple of weeks, is that we saw what the Broncos did last year. That they went to Manning right before the playoffs instead of trying to go into playoffs with Osweiler for the first time.
Right.
And last year at that Super Bowl, I mentioned this as well. You and I were with Romo for Courtyard night before the game, or 2 nights before the game.
That's right.
And did a chalk talk. And Romo, I mean, he was locked in, neck up on X's and O's. I mean, he is one of the best in the game when it comes to knowing it.
100%.
Going
100%.
in.
Rich, I'm not denying any of that. The fact is, I truly appreciate everything that he brings and everything he is, because he's underrated in my mind. As a quarterback in his career, even what he can accomplish this year, underrated. My only issue is the Cowboys as a team have not. This is as much as they have rallied in a long time, and so that's just a tender thing to step into. Tony can handle it; he's gonna step into it, but recognize Tony would be smart to not, devalue what's happened the last couple of months. He should try to jump in the middle of it and be a part of it, because it happened without him. And in the end, Bill Walsh always told me, if you're not in the huddle, you're not in the huddle. And so to me, he should be. I believe everything you're saying about Tony. I think he's the right guy. I think he's the one that can take the team to the Super Bowl. But what's happened with Dak is unique and should be respected.
Let's talk, before I let you go, about the 49ers. How is Kaepernick going to look in the Kelly offense? I mean, this is a big mystery right here, and it's coming for Western New York and Buffalo week 6.
Not easy, right? I think saying things that Blaine Gabbert and Colin are kind of similar players. They like to put their foot in the ground, step, take one look, throw it, and move on. And Chip really asks for processing power, sideline to sideline. What Carson Wentz and Dak are doing right now is what Chip's looking for, and that's not the best things that Blaine or Colin do. So what Colin needs to do is figure out a way to just spark the team. Last in passing offense. They really have nothing. They're more abundant. They're 1-4. So Colin, just figure out a way with Chip to get the ball out, make something happen. You can't just, because the truth is, if you just play neutral, it's not enough. You've got to spark the team, or else they're going to move on and they're going to need to find a quarterback. And unless Colin comes in and sparks the team, that search is going to intensify.
And last one for you, Steve. How do you like talking about your life, putting in a book form?
Weird. I did this for my kids. Like, honestly, the whole thing was about my son coming home when he was 10, who was born after I finished playing, and saying something like, Dad, today at school, this kid said something about Joe Montana and you. And I was like, that's not right. And I thought to myself, my gosh, this is his life. He's going to grow up never having seen me play, not knowing anything really about it, and being told about it by random people making stuff up. So I was like, and that's what started 2010. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give them my story, and I'm gonna do it for my kids, and that's all I did. And I finished with it a couple of years ago, and then over time, people just kept pecking at me. Hey, look, I think you should publish. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. I know sports memoirs are always like, I was in Detroit and it was raining and it was cold, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Well, here we are. So obviously they won the battle, and it does feel weird because the truth is it's for my kids, and if you read it, please read it in terms of if I was handing to my kids what it would sound like, because that's all I really was doing it for.
That's awesome, and we'll have to find out one day how Mariucci was spreading rumors in your kid's school like that, Steve. That's pretty awful.
Seriously. Mooch just running around making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like he was the greatest coach in my life, and where would I be without him? And who called better plays than Mooch? You know, who was the gutsiest 4th and 1, go for it guy? I mean, I know Mooch, making it up as he goes.
And he's the sweetest guy on the planet, but of course he definitely looked at the index. He definitely went to the M in the index.
In there. Mooch is in there. Now the question is, was Gail in there? That was a real question.
Yeah, she should be. I love it.
Should be.
Steve, congrats on the book. Love having you on.
Okay, buddy. Always good to talk.
Same. That's Steve Young.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.